After all, I was only 22, and even though I'd always known I'd arrived late in my parents' lives, the significance of it only hit me when Dad died. In the few months since we'd lost him, I'd felt anger at the injustice. Why hadn't I come into their lives sooner? My big brother Jack, who was 32, had enjoyed a whole 10 years more with Dad. Mum could obviously sense my anger, even if I'd never said anything outright to her, and then I'd felt guilty because it wasn't her fault in any way. I loved her so much. We'd always been very close, and I could see that she was grieving too. We'd done our best to comfort each other, and somehow we'd got through it together. Jack had been wonderful too, spending most of his time sorting through the dreadful bureaucratic aftermath of death. He'd also had to take sole charge of the vinery, the business Mum and Dad had started from scratch, but at least he'd already been well prepared by Dad to run it. Since Jack was a toddler, Dad had taken him along as he went about the yearly cycle of caring for his precious vines that would, sometime between February and April, depending on the weather, bring forth the grapes that would then be harvested and ultimately result in the delicious, and recently prize-winning, bottles of Pinot Noir that lay stacked in the warehouse, ready to be exported across New Zealand and Australia. He'd taken Jack through each step of the process, and by the time he was 12, he could have probably directed the staff, such was the knowledge Dad had given him. Jack had officially announced at 16 that he wanted to join Dad and run the vinery one day, which had pleased Dad enormously. He'd gone to uni to study business, and afterwards had begun working full-time in the vineyard. "There's nothing better than passing on a healthy legacy," Dad had toasted him a few years ago, after Jack had been on a 6-month visit to a vineyard in the Adelaide Hills in Australia, and Dad had pronounced him ready. "Maybe you'll come in with us too one day, Mary Kate. Here's to there being McDougall wine growers on this land for hundreds of years to come." While Jack had bought into Dad's dream, the opposite had happened to me. Maybe it was the fact that Jack was genuinely so enthralled by making beautiful wines, as well as having a nose that could spot a rogue grape a mile off. He was an excellent businessman. On the other hand, I had grown from a child to a young woman, watching Dad and Jack patrolling the vines and working in what was affectionately known as the lab. In fact, it was nothing more than a large shed with a tin roof atop it, but other things had caught my interest. Now I regarded the vinery as a separate entity to me and my future. That hadn't stopped me working in our little shop during school and uni holidays, or helping out wherever I was needed, but wine just wasn't my passion. Even though Dad had looked disappointed when I'd said that I wanted to study music, he'd had the grace to understand. "Good for you," he'd said as he hugged me. "Music is a big subject, Mary Kate. Which bit of it do you actually see as your future career?" I told him shyly that one day I would like to be a singer and write my own songs. "That's a hell of a dream to have, and I can only wish you luck and say that your mum and I are with you all the way, eh?" "I think it's wonderful, Mary Kate. I really do," Mum had said. "Expressing yourself through song is a magical thing." And study music I had, deciding on the University of Wellington, which offered a world-class degree, and I'd loved every minute of it. Having a state-of-the-art studio in which to record my songs and being surrounded by other students who lived and breathed my passion had been amazing. I'd formed a duo with Fletch, a great friend who played rhythm guitar and had a singing voice that harmonised well with mine. With me at the keyboard, we'd managed to get the odd gig in Wellington and had performed at our graduation concert last year, which was the first time my family had seen me sing and play live. "I'm so proud of you, MK," Dad had said, enveloping me in a hug. It had been one of the best moments of my life. Now, here I am, a year on, chucked out the other end of my degree and still surrounded by vines, I muttered. "Honestly, MK, did you really think that Sony would come begging you to sign a record deal with them?"